There's an ominous structure in Newark, Ohio known as the Licking County Jail. Its intimidating presence in the town is likely due to the dark history surrounding this location's past. This fortress once held violent criminals and murderers such as Laura Bell Devlin, an insane woman who cut off her husband's arms and head. They were later found in her kitchen stove. Another tragic occurrence surrounds a man known as Carl Ethrington. Mr. Ethrington was incarcerated for shooting a man in self-defense. Later that same day, Carl was beaten in his cell, then dragged from the jail to be hung in front of the entire town. Mysteriously, 4 of the former sheriffs of the Licking County Jail have all died inside the building from heart attacks. The youngest sheriff to succumb to this demise was Sheriff Ross Embry, who was only 41 years old when he passed away. The amount of documented tragedies and horrific events that took place at the jail was daunting to our team. With most of the grievous history still fresh in our hearts and minds, we were ready to speak with the resident expert Team United Paranormal Project to learn more before beginning our formal investigation. You had an experience right up here.
Yes, my very first time in the building, actually.
It sounds like we need to hear about it.
Okay. We actually, one of the very first times our group came to investigate this building, it was also one of the first times that I brought Shaq with me. And we had another group just through this door in the cell block area, and myself and another team member came in here. It was July, it was the very end of July, and there's no air conditioning here. It was extremely hot. When we had set up our cameras through the doorway just across the room, myself and Eric were in this area, and Shaq, he's shaking now. You can see his ears shaking a little bit. He just started shaking. It was so hot that he was so visibly upset about being in here. And I mentioned at the time, I felt like I should take him out of the room. And Eric's response was the whole purpose to bringing him was to see
if he picks up on anything.
If he would be, sensitive to this kind of thing. And I needed to try and write it out a little bit. Those weren't his exact words, but we'll leave it at that.
Right.
So as he went into the other room to further investigate, I saw this area here, and I thought, well, this might be safe. So I kind of backed myself into the corner, and the camera was shooting straight at me. I felt like I'd had enough because it just felt like something was right here. It just, like I told you before, it's just looming.
Mm-hmm.
It was there. So Shaq and I, you can hear on the video, I always call him Shaq. So I say, let's go on out of here. And about 3 or 4 seconds as we move out, you see the apparition, full body apparition, just follow us right on out of the room. When we were reviewing the video later, when Eric, I'm the biggest debunker, I will try and debunk anything first because I don't want it to be me that's happening too. So
we understand.
The first time he saw it, he literally almost fell off the stool that he was sitting on. And, oh my gosh, you gotta see this. And he replayed it, and I said, that's your flashlight. That's the light outside. That's my flashlight. And we slowed it down, and he goes, that is not a light. And I finally had to admit that, okay, so it's not.
Because there's not very many lights that look like people.
No, and it's very clearly a person. I mean, you can
almost see the legs.
You can see
moving.
Yeah, and we did screenshots too, and just
try to enhance it and look at it in more detail.
It's just not a light. It's not a light. It's a person.
Martha Ryan.
Yes.
Something really cool happened in this area right here. Am I correct?
Yes, it did.
Can you tell me a little bit about it, please?
Sure. We came in just for a little private investigation, and so I was like, I'll go off on this side. So I came over and I pulled a chair up. I sat right here in front of this window, and that night we were getting shadow activity non-stop. So I was like, I'm gonna sit right here, and I was watching over there, and I was watching over here, and I started feeling really weird. Like something was around me, something was just not right. So I had Eric, who was sitting over there, take a few pictures, and before he could even go over the pictures, I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I gotta move.
Because you were feeling something.
Yes, definitely, and I didn't like it at all. So I ended up moving over to the other side of the room, and nobody was sitting over here at that point. And Eric got a picture of the most incredible apparition we've ever seen.
It was almost like a shadow figure.
Yeah, and it was casting a shadow, which was even weirder.
It almost implies that it was solid mass and able to cast its own shadow.
Exactly.
Where are we at now? What happened here?
We're on the second floor, so block 2. Carl Ethrington, who was in one of the cells just down the hall. He was a detective that was hired to clean up the town. It had been voted dry, but yet the saloon owners didn't want it to be dry, so they were fighting with the detectives. A lot of the police force they owned saloons. I mean, the police chief owned a saloon. So when these detectives came in, they were given the okay. They started running into conflicts at a lot of the saloons here in town. They were actually chased into, 3 of them were chased into a saloon, but the one saloon owner, who was a former police chief, caught Carl Ethrington, one of the detectives, in an alley and started clubbing him with a nightstick.
Wow.
Carl drew his gun and shot him.
In self-defense?
Yes, he didn't die. Some of the mob got to him, started beating him up. The police chief arrested Carl and brought him to the jail for safekeeping until they could figure out what the heck was going on. The person he shot was taken to a sanitarium. Later that day, the guy Carl shot died. The town found out. A mob of about 5,000 people
Showed up here,
bound in the turban to lynch Carl Ethrington. They were going to kill him. They broke down the north door. The matron, who was the police chief's sister, fired a warning shot. The police chief grabbed her, told her no, let him go. Somehow the keys got into the mob's hands.
Well, I imagine you can't stop 5,000 people from getting what they want.
So they took a sledgehammer to Carl Ethrington in his cell, drug him out. It's debatable whether he was actually alive when they drug him out. Took him to the town square, southeast corner, took him to a telegraph pole, hit him again with that sledgehammer, and then strung him up. That happened about 10:30 in the evening.
So they did this right in front of everybody.
Right in front of everybody. Yep.
Right in the middle of town.
Right in the middle of town.
And then, we've just had a lot of different activity in here. There's been a black shadow seen over by the doorway over here by another fellow worker of mine for the haunt. And it scared him to death, because he's seen it twice. It kind of come in the doorway and then went back and then went back again and then left real fast. He said it just made a real funny sound. We've had, when we were cleaning everything up, we've propped this door open here. My husband was also one of the ones that was helping us clean furniture and things up. I was up on the first floor running the shop back and things like that. They were doing all the heavy lifting and bringing stuff back here to the chapel area to store it. And he had this chair propped in the doorway right here because, they're carrying dressers down and tables and, very heavy items. And he had that propped in the doorway. When he came downstairs, the door was shut and this chair was thrown over into that room right there.
That's pretty much impossible, though,
yes.
Right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's not something that just got slid out of the way, or, the chair's kind of heavy itself. And he immediately came upstairs and said, were you downstairs and moved this chair out of the doorway? And no, I hadn't, obviously, I'm not going to come down here and just move the chair out the door for
Just for clarification, for that chair to move from here
to
here, something would have had to have physically moved it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's, 20 feet, so.
That's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely, but it always seems to be something around this doorway right now.
JR, you've led us to this area that's on the 3rd floor, and you've said that you've had some shocking experience here.
Yeah, pretty much what we do. I had 2 other members with me at the time. We went down to set up a camera facing down the hallway. As I was kneeled down to place the camera facing out, I felt as if hands were grabbing my shoulders. Not real rough, just enough to let me know that they were there. I thought it was one of the members messing with me. I look over my shoulder, and they're in the last cell, nowhere near me. So I asked them, I was like, hey, is that one of you guys doing that? And they went, did what? And they said they just saw the whites of my eyes kind of open up. It kind of freaked me out a little bit. And of course, from there on out for a few minutes, I was trying to think, okay, what could have possibly made me feel pretty much hands on my shoulders? And never did figure it out, but it was enough to, clarify that
there's something going on here.
People do get touched around here, and it'll get you when you least expect it. And, it's always very, what's the word? You never know what you're going to get into coming through this place. So it's usually very exciting.
What room is this?
This is Mae Varner's cell.
Mae Varner, what happened to her?
She set herself on fire.
In this room or in this area, people have experienced some weird, strange activity, and they think it might be Mae. What exactly happens?
There's screams a lot. I mean, you don't even have to be on this floor to hear the screams. And it's not just a little squeal, it's a loud, piercing, like, in pain scream. And that's happened quite a few times. And a lot of guys get activity, get touched and everything on this floor. So.
That's right. I guess the men are affected in this room more so than the females, and that's one reason why we believe that this room is haunted, or the presence that is in this room is Mae.
Yeah.
There are actual female screams, probably even when no females are present, coming from this room right here. Or on this floor maybe, or just like in this room.
On this floor, in this room, I mean, it doesn't matter. You're going to hear it regardless.
Now, having interviewed the members of United Paranormal Project, our team worked quickly with Jeff Fent to get things ready for the night's investigation. Our first camera was brought to the 4th floor cell block. Then, based on our interview with Carla Christie and her dog's reaction to being present on the 3rd floor during our interview, we decided to place a camera pointing at an EMF trigger object that's in the form of a dog. With no hesitation, we headed to the 3rd floor cell block wishing to capture some of the screams that are thought to be that of Mae Varner. Quickly, Sean and Amber set up a static cam in the old sheriff's bedroom with aspiration of capturing some activity. The next camera was settled on the 2nd floor cell block where Carl Ethrington was once beaten and dragged from his cell. Moving down into the basement, we positioned a camera that is near an area where reported shadow figures and other strange activity is said to occur. Under the advisement of United Paranormal Project team member Terry, we located a camera near a door that is reported to have intense paranormal activity involving a chair. And to finish off, we arranged the thermal on the 1st floor so that it would be close to both Tom and the safe room.
We had set up the paranormal pooch in the matron's quarters on the 3rd floor. What was very interesting about it is in the very beginning, the dog was sounding off by itself. And every time someone came to the door and opened the door, the dog would stop.
You could tell that Jason was getting frustrated. Every time he would go to leave the room, the dog would go off. It was hilarious.
So that was pretty funny to watch.
Went down, grabbed Terry, she came up with me. We both looked at it. We even said, make another sound, and it did.
Do you like the dog? Oh. Where's the cords at? Oh my God.
You like the dog, huh?
Okay, can you turn the dog off, please? Turn it off, please.
Please turn off the dog.
Okay, can you touch the dog now? And make it sing?
Can you touch the dog? Make it sing, please. I'm just gonna walk out here. Do what you want to do. I've never experienced anything like that in my life, and still can't figure out or pinpoint what it was.
It was interesting that the dog kind of set off on its own and went on a little rampage, and for about 6 minutes kept playing its music. And just before another group came upstairs and opened the door, it had stopped. It seemed to reset itself. And as soon as they opened the door, started interacting with them again. That was totally awesome. United Paranormal Project tried to see if they could get it to interact, and they were quite successful. They get the dog to actually, after a little coaxing, to play the sounds, the music. That was pretty cool.
We found this clip actually originally on the 3rd floor, and then when we were trying to debunk it, it sounded louder on the 2nd floor.
Crash. Bang! It was so loud it reverberated. I sent an email to Jeff from United Paranormal Project, and he said that he would go there the following weekend and do a sound comparison to see if he could figure out, and we could figure out, what caused that crash.
You know, slamming the doors that were there in the building and compare it to what you heard on tape. And there's really no comparison whatsoever.
No, we came in and out of that safe room all night, and that door never slammed like that. None of the doors that we came in and out of slammed like that.
What was it? Maybe something residual. Once again, probably nothing trying to directly communicate with us, but nonetheless, it's exciting.
Static camera, 2nd floor cell block. Burn.
burn is what we're hearing on this EVP. Sometimes it's very hard to tell exactly what's being said, so we do our best to try to, put it out there as what we hear it as.
Yeah, it's definitely a word. The word is burn. I mean, it's a whisper, it's clear.
We just caught this Class A EVP that says burn. And you don't usually catch things like that. We can only think that it coincides with maybe Mae, who caught herself on fire and burned herself alive. We don't know, but it's pretty exciting for anyone in this field to catch something like that.
Now that's creepy. I was reviewing the evidence from the 4th floor static cam, and we picked up this sound. It was the sound of a woman screaming in agony.
Hearing that scream is very frightening, very eerie. It gave me EVGVs twice. I heard it, goosebumps. I admit I had them. It's frightening, and you can't help but feel bad for that woman that's actually was in pain at that time.
Mae Varner is a woman who was being held for attempted suicide. And she somehow found a way to catch herself on fire to end her own life there in the jail. If this is residual from her screams, and just to imagine the pain that she inflicted upon herself. It really just hurts you, it hurts your soul.
There are two very interesting things about this clip here. The first thing is that it backs up the claims that you can hear female screams in the jail no matter where you're at.
It's not just a little squeal, it's a loud, piercing, like, in pain scream.
And then the other thing is that we captured this scream down on the 3rd floor. It's fainter there, but that kind of validates and backs up that you can hear it from all the different floors in the building.
Hearing this blood-curdling scream that sent shivers down my spine, it would just tears you to pieces, knowing that somebody would catch themselves on fire and to end their lives that way, and just to end it all, to be in that much pain and sorrow, to end their lives that way. She had to be just at her end.
It affects you. You have no choice. It affects you.
3rd floor cell block. We captured this EVP on a static cam. We're not sure what this woman was trying to say. Wasn't clear enough. Definitely not Class A. Our only wish was that we could understand her better.
I guess what really matters here is we captured a true EVP, and it's some words that are being said, and it's very creepy, to say the least.
Very, very hard to discern what's being said. I don't think that we really agree on what is actually being said, but, here it is for you.
So listen to this EVP as many times as you need to, and please let us know what you think that you hear.
I was doing evidence review of one of the static cameras located in the basement, right at the bottom of the stairs. And we captured an EVP on it. And it was a raspy voice calling out, "Hey, Ed."
Well, it kind of surprised us because we were all upstairs and it was between the holding cell and the chapel. So we don't know where that came from.
We always get excited when we hear a spirit call out a name. Because, you know, we don't know if the spirit's actually saying, "Hey, Ed," to the spirit that they see, or if they're just calling out a name residually. We just don't know. But it's exciting to think about.
This, to me, is a Class A EVP. You can't even hear it on the camera that was in the very next room. And hey, Ed, I think there's somebody that wants to talk to you.
This is my first experience with the Geobox, and when Jeff turned it on, well, the first word that we heard was the name Ethan. He asked who's here with us, and we got the name Ethan.
Say Ethan? I need to be recording this.
Billy.
What did it sound like to you?
I think it said Bill.
I don't know. I'm bad at these things.
Okay, was it Ethan?
Reverb.
Did you say reverb?
And I remember being pretty freaked out. Like, I'm glad I'm not alone hearing all this. You know, I'm glad I was with my crew. And now going over the playback of the tape and listening to it all over again gave me the same feeling, kind of like sick to my stomach. It made me feel creeped out. I honestly wanted to kind of get out of there because of hearing those words like reverb just hours after we were talking about the acoustics of the building.
So we were all standing there and we heard, "Hey guys." And then just a few seconds later, we heard this response say, "Edith." Hey guys.
That's what it said.
Edith?
So we're talking to Edith? Edith?
And when you are sitting there in the room with that box, it just sounds creepy.
Edith did? Or Edith has?
I have trouble understanding what's being said, but I do find it interesting that every time we ask a question, it seems to be responding.
Yes.
Who else is here?
Edward, clear
Yeah,
as a bell.
clear as day.
How's it going, Edward?
Edward came through very clear as well. This is getting to be a really neat experience.
Sean happens to ask a question, and we seem to get a response to it. And definitely a Class A.
What caused the heart attacks?
They may not know. They may not know.
Right? What is it? What is it?
Ask him again.
We got a response of no, no. Now that did not come from the Geobox. That actually came out over all the noise of the Geobox, almost like someone said it directly into the microphone.
They may not know.
Right? There's no way that came from the jail box. That is a Class A EVP. It is amazing.
It wasn't, any of us. It didn't come from the geo box, so we don't know where it came from.
No. They may not know.
The group was up in the sheriff's living quarters on the second floor. They were about to come downstairs after the Geo Box 2 session when Amber basically dropped to her knees.
This incident caught us off guard. Just as we were leaving the room, the Geo Box session was over, and we thought we were going back down to the safe room to take a break. We were unpleasantly surprised.
It'll pass. It's already starting to pass.
You said a lot of tragedy happened in that room? The heart attacks?
Yep. It's one of them.
Is it one of the guys?
Yep.
I got the chills.
I did too. That's
Wow.
why I needed her. I needed
Wow.
you guys up here now.
And it's warm up here.
It's true.
I just got the chills all the way up my right arm and down my back.
I'm getting the chills now too.
There was a point in time when I got the chills and they ran straight through my entire body. I mean, that just showed me the validation that I needed, that what was really going on was very spiritual.
It was one of the men. It was first a sharp pain in my head, then sick to my stomach. Ugh. Ugh. That was bad.
Are you feeling better now?
Yes.
Okay.
It's passing. I don't feel, yeah.
Amber, you sounded very sad in there too. I mean, obviously there's pain involved.
Yes.
But it seemed like there's a lot of emotion in there too.
Yeah. Because first it started in my head, like overwhelming, like pain and sickness. And then it just, I can't explain it. It was just like, it just overcame me and I dropped. And it wasn't mine. Ugh. I'm shaking, but it passed. It was as soon as we walked out of the room, so.
I'm gonna walk right here.
What did you mean by it's not mine?
It wasn't me feeling it. When I say that it's not mine, it's not my fear, it's not my sadness, it's not my pain, it's not my sickness. It's the spirits that passed away. And it's not actually what I'm feeling, it's what they felt. I carried it out of the room with me. It'll be probably from doing the session.
Do you think it was Edith? The woman that you said sounded very distressed?
I don't think it was Edith. I think it was one of the men.
This experience is very frightening, and it really shows the dangers that we put ourselves in as investigators of the paranormal.
It was just terrible to watch. It was heart-wrenching to see a member of your team brought down like that by something that you could not see. It's just unbelievable.
Like that before. I've never seen anything like.
The closest thing was at that one home.
Right. And it wasn't mine then either.
Yeah. We were at a home investigation and she got like stuck. And it was a very emotional experience for her. She actually had to leave the house for about 15-20 minutes. So that's the only other time I've seen this.
This was pretty rough.
Yeah. Even
I know that I was relieved when I saw that Amber was okay after a little bit of time passed, and we were able to all walk downstairs and carry on the investigation from there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I think that you should go take a break in the safe room.
I think so too.
I think that's what needs to happen.
Okay.
You make it okay?
Yes.
Are you able to get up? Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't see where I was grabbing. I see this arm coming at me. I'm like, uh-oh.
I was reviewing the static camera footage from the basement, and there is a system alarm that is beeping in the background. But there's also a metallic squeaking sound that's against metal, or a squeaky wheel that's being, maybe a cart that's being pulled in the basement.
Yeah, hearing that squeaking sound, wow, really boggles my mind. At first, being a musician and all, I kind of thought, hey, maybe it's feedback. But then, go to look to it, it's impossible. It wasn't. It was just plugged in. It was turned on. There was no mic. There's no RF interference, nothing like that.
Possibly a residual sound. We don't know. All we know is it only got picked up on this camera, and there was nobody in the basement at the time this happened.
I reviewed this quite a few times trying to figure out what this noise could be. When I first heard it, I thought it was buttons being pushed, maybe someone trying to turn off the alarm that was sounding, but it turned out that wasn't it. We contacted Jeff Fent and Eric Glosser, and they definitely confirmed that that's a noise that they haven't heard before. So I'm still just as puzzled now as I was the first time I saw this clip.
The alarm was going off. We were on the other side of the building, and it sounds like metal on metal. In the other room, there's this fencing type stuff. It's like metal fencing. Didn't quite sound like that. Nobody knows what it is, really.
Later on in the evening, Sean made a trip up to the 4th floor and kind of worked its way down, all the way back down. He carried a camera. He was alone. It was a solo investigation. And his first stop was in the matron's quarters, where we had our paranormal pooch set up.
All right, well, if you said anything, whoa, I just got the chills too. Hey, can you do me a favor? Thank you. Can you go back towards the dog and make it go off again, please?
Now, it seems as I'm walking away and out of the room into the jail, it's going off.
You said anything?
And when I was filming, as I was trying to debunk the dog at my home, I was using my cell phone. And my cell phone wasn't setting it off unless it was inches away. I really don't feel like it was me that was setting off the dog.
Didn't go off that time. Hello? Sorry for blinding you. All right, well. See, I wasn't that close to it again. Okay, so that wasn't me? Just to show me that wasn't me, can you please just do that one more time? Do it one more time and I'll leave the room. Please? Are you messing with me? See, whenever I go right here, and I got the chills again. Whenever I'm about to leave the room, it goes off.
Stop, back up, ask it a question. You know, try to explain what was going on. Try to leave again and go back off again.
Even the spirits think it's fun to mess with Sean.
I get down to the 3rd floor cell block, and as I'm walking down the cell block, I actually feel weak in my knees. I feel like wobbling, and I actually document that as I'm walking down the hallway.
Starting to feel weak in my knees a little bit. Ooh. Hello? Is anybody here?
I'm feeling very uneasy and definitely like I am not alone.
Hello? Who's back there? Hi? What's your name? Well, thank you for letting me know you're here. Well, thank you for letting me know you're here. Okay. I think I'm going to go.
The thing about this EVP is that we're not sure if there's actually words being spoken here. It kind of sounds like a moan, but the thing that we all agree on is that we love when we capture this type of activity.
And to me, that EVP really validates that creepy experience I had up there in the 3rd floor.
Well, thank you for letting me know you're here.
It's something that the spirit shares with us, and we feel it's an honor to then be able to share it with everyone else.
Well, thank you for letting me know you're here.
Investigating the old Licking County Jail was a dream come true. I can't imagine going someplace else and having this much fun, getting this much activity, and just generally the experience that we had was unbeatable.
There are a lot of opportunities for everybody to learn from our experiences at the Licking County Jail. We had some very powerful experiences there, and a lot of them you can actually see what the real risks are in investigating the paranormal.
It was a lot of fun and a lot of other stuff, but things happen and you'll enjoy it. So subscribe to YouTube, our YouTube channel.
Very interesting building, a lot of history, awesome place with awesome people that run the ghost hunts there, the United Paranormal Project. They knew that building from top to bottom, the history and everything that went along with it. When we got into the investigation, great place, a lot of activity. Some of it was really off the hook. In fact, there's so much that we could only include some of our experiences on this video. I hope you enjoy the video as much as we did making it for you.
Was that you?
And again, if you ever have the chance to visit the old Licking County Jail, don't pass it up. You'll enjoy yourself.
I feel it's important that you take a kind of a respectful approach and definitely don't provoke because of what could happen. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah.
In a place like this,
I don't provoke. I don't want anything to happen to the people around me. I don't want anything to happen to me. I mean, I've seen it happen. I've seen provoking happen, and the person that's probably the least expecting it sometimes even the most frail person in the group is the one that gets attacked. You know,
Because of one person's loud mouth.
Right. And it just creates havoc in that place for the next group of people that come in. I mean, you rile the spirits up, especially the negative ones. They tend to remember.
Our team practices a respectful approach. I want to know if you feel that it's important to kind of take that type of approach and why.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you start an investigation, you should start with a certain approach. I mean, you don't want to come off as you're there to taunt them in any way or provoke or anything. You want them to know that you're only here to get answers and nothing else.
Because if you provoke something that, I mean, has the ability to hurt you, aren't you kind of asking for trouble at that point?
Absolutely. And then you'll probably get it too.
I just feel like it's just not good to provoke. I mean, a spirit is a spirit. They were people. That's how I feel. And I just feel like if you come in and say, I mean you no harm, I come in peace, I think that's a better way to get someone to talk to you, and maybe you're helping them, see the light or whatever it may be. But I feel like if there is something malevolent in a location that you're at, that kind of negative attention is going to bring that out. And I just don't think that that's what you want to do. I don't think that's safe. I don't think it's healthy.
If they were angry, upset people in life, don't ever take it for granted that they cannot be upset people in death. If they were unhappy in life, they want to make you equally unhappy because you're still living. You need to respect that. You can't ever disrespect that side of it because they can make your world a living hell.
For anybody who's starting off to be an investigator and they were to visit here, what would you do if you caught somebody being disrespectful and provoking?
I tell them it's not allowed. I don't want it, here. I don't want it around anybody here. Me, anybody in your group, a group coming in. I don't want it.
It's hard to find good help these days.
Oh my god. Yes. Bloopers.
We're classy. This is a classy show here.
Classy. Family-friendly entertainment.